Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and Season 4 Reloaded is now out for Black Ops Cold War, and I think it's safe to say that at this point, Days of Summer is not going to be happening this year, big surprise there, but now fans are wondering, what's going to be happening to the game next? What is to come for Black Ops Cold War? Leaks and rumors are suggesting that starting next month, they're slowly going to be rolling out teasers for Call of Duty World War II Vanguard via Warzone, which seems to be par of the course over the past couple of years, so that kind of makes sense, but what about Cold War, right? What is left for Black Ops Cold War, the game that was initially being created by Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software, then got a complete narrative shift, and then had its reins handed over to Treyarch, and became the game that we all know today. Well, I did a little bit of research going into this, and something absolutely blew my mind. Over 10 years ago, Activision and Infinity Ward absolutely called out and made fun of themselves. Which is weird, right? So they made fun of themselves, they called themselves out, but their future selves, not their current selves. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but old Call of Duty back in the day, back when a lot of us considered it to be the golden age of the franchise, back then, they made an advertisement that made fun of games that modern Call of Duty is exactly like. It's pretty crazy to see. It's like when you see somebody making fun of people buying anime bundles in the store, and then the very next year they're doing it themselves. That's basically what we have right here, right? It's kind of insane. When we look at Black Ops Cold War, we currently have 20 normal 6v6 maps, and of those 20, 14 are original, 5 of them are Black Ops 2 remakes, and 1 of them is a remake of Miami, which is a map that just came out this year, but it's already been remade. It took them 6 months, and they're already remaking maps that came out this year. Like, kinda crazy. So, 1/4 of the Black Ops Cold War maps are cut whole cloth from Black Ops 2. And post-launch, we've only seen 5 original maps in 9 months. You then compare that to the old days, where we would see anywhere from 9 to 12 original maps in that time frame. You can see why people are starting to get burned out, right? You then take a look at this trailer right here, and the absolutely perfect introduction that it has. I mean, I'm sorry, but the irony here is just so perfect. This is Activision and Infinity Ward defining Mapathy as the state of indifference towards the same old maps, whereas nowadays, old maps is pretty much all we get, right? That's pretty much half the content or more in an average Call of Duty game. They were literally advertising against this very idea a decade ago, but regardless, let's go ahead and take a listen to what the ad says.
Right now, millions of Modern Warfare 2 players are suffering from apathy, and many don't even know it. Those suffering from apathy no longer derive pleasure from the same old maps.
There's always a guy on top of the crane.
The guy hiding in the cockpit. Shocking.
Holy shit, guys, this is getting super meta. Are you seeing the parallels to the modern Call of Duty fan base right now? Like, holy shit.
How the f did you know I was there?
It is only a matter of time before Mapathy infects a player's entire life.
I feel trapped too.
There's nowhere left to hide. I went everywhere.
Some become so mapathetic, it's pathetic.
It's a man in Karachi. That's what he said.
Luckily for the mapathetic, there is a cure. The new Modern Warfare 2 stimulus package actually revives gamers. With new places to run, jump, and blow up unsuspecting they now can find new meaning in their lives.
I can snipe again.
I'm totally lost, and it's great. That's great.
If you or someone you know suffers from apathy, there is hope. Download the new Modern Warfare 2 stimulus package on Xbox Live and start living again.
Holy hell, guys, that hit pretty close to home, didn't it? A decade ago, Activision and Infinity Ward understood that people got bored of playing the same old maps over and over. And mind you, this was back during Modern Warfare 2, which launched with 16 maps right from the get-go, which is unheard of compared to modern-day Call of Duty titles. They didn't really listen to their own advice all that much, though, as the original Infinity Ward team ended up leaving Activision during Modern Warfare 2, and thus DLC was very sporadic after the stimulus package, package, but at the very least, they did end up adding 6 new original maps post-launch, along with 4 remakes from Call of Duty 4, which at the time was kind of unheard of. So the game itself had tons of original content, as well as 4 remakes at a time where remakes were actually kind of a new thing. Well, nowadays, Call of Duty titles aren't launching with 16 maps. They're launching with like 9 maps at launch, with one of them being a remake, and then throughout the game's life cycle, we basically see nothing but remakes until the next Call of Duty title comes out. I wish I had stats for you guys. It would take somebody with absolutely no life to have to go back and count all the remakes we've seen in recent years, let alone compare just how badly launch day content has devolved from, say, Black Ops 1 to Black Ops Cold War, and honestly, that's something I just don't... So yeah, that doesn't really paint an incredibly pretty picture for the Call of Duty franchise as of late, does it? I feel like Activision, Treyarch, and Infinity Ward all need to go back to the drawing board when it comes to the kind of content that they launch with their Call of Duty titles, as well as the kind of content that is released afterwards. They need to take the message from this old Modern Warfare 2 ad and realize that releasing the same maps over and over and over is boring for the player base. Familiarity and fan-favorite maps are one thing, but if they continue to rehash the same content year after year, they're going to force even more burnout amongst the player base than we already have, which is pretty high, not gonna lie. The overall burnout in the Call of Duty community seems to be at an all-time high between the lack of original content as well as skill-based matchmaking. Just think for a second, how many times have they brought back Nuketown? I mean, I kind of understand that, that's a bit of an exception, but how many times have they brought back Firing Range? How many times have they brought back Shipment? How many times have they brought back Crash, or Jungle, or Slums, or Raid? Like, we have so many maps that have been remade over and over and over, whereas we have like 15 plus years of maps that haven't been touched really whatsoever. For example, Castle, back in World at War, is a map that a lot of people want to see return for one reason or another, yet it's never come back, and instead, they just keep remaking Raid. Like, I get that Raid's a good map, but there's a lot more they could do when it comes to these remakes, especially when the majority of their post-launch content these days seems to just be them remaking old maps without even reimagining the themes. Like, they genuinely just copy and paste this stuff into the game. I will say, however, that after doing a little bit of research, Sledgehammer Games isn't quite like Treyarch or Infinity Ward, and maybe it's because they're a newer studio for the franchise. They have been around as a side studio, and they've been helping for quite some time, but they're not really like known as like the big main studio like we see with Treyarch or Infinity Ward. So going back to Call of Duty World War II, I quickly went through and counted, but the game had something like 26 total maps in the game for like normal 6v6, and only Shipment and Carentan were remakes, if I counted correctly. The rest of it was just pure Sledgehammer Games content, and a lot of those maps were instant classics, at least in my opinion. We had maps like London Docks, Arden Forest, Flak Tower, V2, and Gibraltar, just a couple that come to mind. Those are really good maps, and it's because Sledgehammer doesn't have a giant back catalog of maps that they can just copy and paste into their current games. Instead, they had to actually come up with original content, and a lot of that content, in my opinion, was good. Is all going to be great? Of course not, right? Every now and then, they release a new map, and it's awful, right? We see that in Cold War, we saw it in Modern Warfare, we saw it in Black Ops 4, we see it in World War II, we see it in every single game. Not every map is an instant classic, but at least they're trying. Right? At least they're trying to put out original content, and they're going to try to learn from their mistakes from their previous games and their previous maps and try to make the best possible maps that they can, as compared to Infinity Ward and Treyarch, who basically just rehash the same stuff over and over and over. Instead of trying to create an original masterpiece like The Pines, which, by the way, I think The Pines is one of the coolest original maps ever. So happy, and it's from this game, which is nuts. It's a current COD that has an amazing map. That's awesome. But instead of going for like an original masterpiece like The Pines, instead, Infinity Ward and Treyarch just decide to copy and paste the same maps over and over because it's cheaper, it's faster, it requires a lot less work, and for the super casual player base, it's probably a better experience. I feel like if you're a super casual COD fan, as compared to just trying to learn all these new maps and trying to have fun with new content, I wonder if the super casual player base, the players that they're actually catering to now, I wonder if they just prefer to have those remakes every single year because there's familiarity there. And then they run around on Firing Range, they get their 20 kills, they get excited about it, then they go buy the anime bundle and jump on Warzone. Like, is that like the new Call of Duty mantra? Like, I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about this subject down in the comment section below. I don't know. It blew my mind that they made an advertisement like Mapathy where they literally call themselves out I don't know. The irony is delicious. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider leaving a like, leave your thoughts and feedback down in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.